I'll see if this actually works. I'm kind of curious. I want to multitask. Your favorite thing?
No, that doesn't exist, Justin. We just went over it.
Welcome back, listeners. Or if you are new, welcome to the Digital Divide podcast. I'm Justin Fry,
And I'm Josh Charletto.
and let's cut to the chase. Okay, Josh. Besides the fact that it's extremely windy outside right now, and possibly raining on this crisp Monday.
Is
Uh,
it?
yeah,
You don't know me.
I think it is. I don't know. It's very windy, so if you hear it in the background, I apologize. Anyways, let's jump right to the newsreel because I have a really important message to give everybody. And that message is there are ways to get even cheaper rates using Uber, which I don't know how many people here listen to Uber or listen to Uber. Ha 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 ha. Use Uber. Let's start over there. I don't know how many people use Uber, but the fact that I can get cheaper rates by simply waiting is an amazing idea. But there's a catch, Josh. There's a
Okay,
catch.
what's the catch, Justin?
Okay, this seems.
Take us through it.
I will take everyone on the wonderful trip down how to get cheaper rates at Uber. So apparently, this article, which is linked in the show notes, there's a way for riders to get cheaper rates by simply waiting. What I mean by that is, for example, if John needs to get to, I don't know, somewhere down in the city, a particular location that they're at, if they go ahead and set up a fare or at least a ride, what will happen is Uber will give the rate at the current time, but then we'll say, hey, if you are willing, at 7 o'clock, it will be $6.42 opposed to $9 to go to this location. Would you like to wait? And you could actually accept that, and it schedules your ride. Reminds you when it gets closer to do you still want the ride? But essentially, you get to save more money. And I don't know about you, but I'm sure there are people out there that would love this feature because they might not be in a rush to get somewhere or might be hanging out with some friends. Who knows? But to me, I think this is the easy way of saving a couple two treat bucks, you know, trying to get to and from locations, especially if you're using Uber regularly. So I don't know. I think it was a great idea.
So I guess I'll ask then, have you
Hmm.
used Uber before?
Yes.
I
Only
have
time.
never used it before.
Really? You've never used
Really?
Uber before?
No.
Well, I'll be dang. Uh, Wow. Well, I think it's fantastic, and there's plenty of bad news articles and things that have happened with Uber drivers, et cetera, et
Oh
cetera.
yeah.
That
Yeah, yeah.
I'm totally washing over that. From my pure experience, it's always been a positive one, even if the person was late slash drove us the wrong way. I've always been like refunded, so or at least the rate was adjusted. So I've had no problems with it. It's fantastic, super easy to use. I mean, besides setting up an account, you click where you want to go, and bada bing, bada boom, you set up a ride. And relatively every driver I've been with or have you been with, gone on a ride with, that sounds terrible. I have every driver that I have experienced, the cars have been pretty clean. I think there may have been one or two cars that were pretty dirty, but not dirty, but maybe older, so they uh, were kind of beaten up. But other than that, I mean, nothing beats paying less for less for your own taxi without having to yell at them as they drive by or try and you know get a hold of one when it's pouring rain. You can sit in your lobby of the hotel you're in or something like that and wait for the Uber to pull up. So I think it's perfect.
Would you consider using Lyft instead?
Yes, I've used Lyft too. If there wasn't a place or there wasn't an Uber driver available, which I think's only happened once. So,
Interesting.
but you have not used Uber? Why?
No, never. I've never had a reason to.
Really?
Yeah,
Well,
I could see using it though.
yeah, it's pretty nice. I enjoy it. There's a lot of people in the city, I'm sure, use it all the time, and even out by us, out in the burbs, people use it. It's really helpful for restaurants when they're trying to get rid of uh, what's the word I'm looking for?
Degenerates.
Degenerates, sure. I'll use that phrase. But anyways, enough about Uber. Josh, tell me something you found on the interwebs.
Well, my news story is more of just an interview that Kotaku did with the developers for the new Cyberpunk 2077 game,
Yes.
which looks pretty great. And they were discussing why it's taken that game so long since the teaser way back. I don't know what year, I forgot, but it's taken them a long time, and basically boils down to them taking their time and changing directions a few times to make sure it's good.
Yeah.
But related to this, I found out today, or maybe slash remembered today, that there was an RPG game, so a tabletop RPG
Ooh.
that was back in the 80s called Cyberpunk 2022. No, 2020 rather.
Hmm.
Sorry. And that's what this new Cyberpunk game is based off of. So that makes me even more excited. So unfortunately, I'm on the hype train for this game, and I cannot wait for it to be released. So, which I believe is next year. Anyway, take a look at the article. Developer seems pretty good, and that they care a lot about the game, and that always bodes well usually for games like this. So,
Nice.
yeah, pretty excited.
Yeah. I don't know why, but I don't think it really caught on for me. I didn't really look into it. I just saw that everybody was freaking out about this game. So I have even yet to look at any of this. So, which is
Oh my,
surprising.
Justin, take a look. Read the article. It's in the show notes.
Oh, however, can I miss it? I'll have to take a look at it. Well, moving on. So this topic we're about to talk about is something that I have had trouble with, or not trouble, but debated on pursuing when my wife and I bought our house and we're trying to figure out should we go with Comcast, should we go with AT&T, Time Warner, whoever is in your area, etc., or should we cut the cord? So cutting the cord is a fantastic new development. I would say what Josh in the last couple of years, like 4 or 5 years, maybe popularity.
I think, yeah, popularity wise, I would say yes. You've been able to do it for a while if you were willing to make sacrifices, like
Mm-hmm.
really deep sacrifices.
Right.
But I think in the last 4 or 5 years, like you're saying, or even 2 and 3 years, it's become more of a mainstream typical thing that people are doing.
Right.
I'm
And
basing all that on anecdotal evidence, of course. I have no numbers as usual. That's how we roll here, so.
well, from my understanding, cutting the cord can go a bunch of ways. But what we're specifically talking about is not subscribing or paying for a contract with a larger media provider, whether that be a service provider. Sorry, AT&T for TV, phone, and internet. Comcast, DirecTV, which is technically the same thing as AT&T. Basically, people are nowadays. There's a large group of people who are going out and only paying for the internet from some of these providers or even local providers. So specifically for us, we have MetroNet in the Illinois, Indiana area, and you can pay for just straight up internet. And from there, you go and buy into the hundreds. I'm sure there are hundreds, but lots. This plethora of subscription services. So like uh, HBO Go or uh, what else? Why am I brain farting? Netflix,
Netflix, HBO, CBS, NBC.
NFL, NHL, MLB,
Yeah,
Stars, like everything.
every channel just about has it.
And then people, and there's even commercials going on from Comcast and AT&T talking about cord cutters, and I think most of the time they've always been against cord cutting, like, oh, if you cord cut you can only do this, or cord cutting doesn't allow you to watch this TV show, and so they always like push these blockbuster hits that are only really provided on their services or are made accessible on their services. So there's this huge debate right now. I don't say huge, but if I was somebody when I was going into my house, when I was deciding to take this plunge, like I had to address what I wanted out of it. Like what was I expecting to happen? Or what was I looking for? And what do I watch regularly? What do I use my internet for? Et cetera, et cetera. So I asked a friend of mine, Josh, and I'm pretty sure you might or may not remember this, but I had asked you how your experience was going. So before we dive into the whole topic at hand, can you explain to us why you cord cut it? If that's the right term to use.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So, the reason that I've cut the cord
Mm-hmm.
is that I'm super lame.
Wow,
Isn't that awesome? That's the reason. That's
that's
really the
gonna hook.
reason.
That's gonna hook in everybody. Now everyone's gonna want to listen because they heard Josh is lame.
Well, now, hold on. To be more specific and
Mm-hmm.
maybe a tiny bit more useful,
Mm-hmm.
my wife and I, we don't watch TV in the traditional sense, I guess you could say.
Okay.
Um, what does that mean? How do I define that? So, I mean, all of us on this podcast and our wives and everybody we know, we've grown up or had TV where it was just everything's on all the time. You pay a certain, like you mentioned just a minute ago, you pay a subscriber fee and then you have access to X number of channels with X number of shows.
Right.
So everybody has had access to every show on all the time.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with that is that there's a break even point, and I think you mentioned it before, which makes a lot of sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we ended up having to do several times. You
Mm-hmm.
have to break down, which is terrible and ridiculous, but you have to break down how useful that is to you, how many shows you watch, what kind of shows you watch when they're on,
Yeah.
all that stuff. So for us, we don't regularly watch TV or TV shows enough to make it make sense,
Right.
especially when a lot of the content that we watch is on Netflix or HBO. So I think that Netflix has really made an inroad in that whole situation. And a lot of the reason that I think people are really getting into it is because of Netflix, and everybody else is just following suit. Everybody's becoming a platform, everybody's becoming a content creator. So I guess really the long and the short is to say that we don't watch TV the typical way, and I barely watch TV these days. I have 3 kids. I don't know if I mentioned that on the podcast before.
Whoa, 3 kids.
So I get to choose, and my wife gets to choose one thing that we do usually per night at most, if there's time for that. So we make our choices, and then if we watch something together, we watch something together, or I'll play a video game, and then that's it. So we're not typical consumers when it comes to TV. So I'm lame. That's the real reason.
Hmm. Well, that's not a bad reason. It has nothing to do with being lame. Because I think Aaron and I are much different where I don't necessarily watch as many TV shows, or at least um I can wait till they're released and then I'll like watch them a couple days later. Where Aaron, I think, was more or less always wanting to watch live TV, so that's where we're different. Um, and she wants to watch, her live shows when not just when like the episodes are airing, but more or less if she's sitting down and doing nothing, she throws on the TV and watches TLC and watch a rerun of something or a Hallmark channel or whatever it is. So like you can't really do that if you're I guess you can. So let me back up.
Well, no, but you're right. That's exactly it. No, that's it. That's it right there. That's what I don't enjoy doing and never have. Like, I don't want to sit down and just find, and it's a time issue for me. And I think a lot of people are in the same boat where maybe you don't have extra time. So sitting down to throw on the TV with whatever's playing is just not enjoyable, I
Mm-hmm.
guess is the right way to put it. I want to find something that's I'm really dying to watch because I have limited time and then I want to watch that. I don't want to just sit down and throw on an episode of some rerun that I've seen before, haven't seen before. I don't know. It's just that's not how I watch TV or want to watch TV. And I think that's weird because I think a lot of people really just prefer to have it on the background and enjoy something being on or something to entertain them, maybe while they work on something else or maybe while they do something else. See also episode 3 or 4 where we talked about attention. So I think that's really the reason. I think that's I'm just a weirdo, is really what it is.
Well, let me backtrack to like what, and this might help other people decide if they want to do this. Um, but
Sure,
the whole point of this, the discussion that I was having with my wife, was to try and figure out if it was worth it for us to separate.
which
Uh,
is hard to do.
yeah, and I, like I said, would be perfectly fine with the internet, just straight up internet, pay for whatever, $64 or whatever it might have been with whatever provider that's local, get the 100 megs, get 75 megs, whatever it may be. Get that so that we can at least stream whatever we wanted and then add those subscription services up. And then her rebuttal was that she would like to watch sports, like we both would. And that's something that I didn't account for. And because we like so many sports, it would require us to subscribe to not just um, one league, it would require us to subscribe to several. So, like, that was the problem where we hit right off the bat, and we told ourselves we're too already invested in TV. We already have these shows that we watch, sports that we watch. It's just not gonna. Well, basically, it wasn't beneficial for us. So, what I wanted to move on with that is how we got to that decision, and I wanted to sort of talk about uh, both sides. One side of people who have gone and cut the cord, and then people who have not cut the cord and why they didn't. So, do you mind if I talk just for a little bit about why I didn't because of the pricing?
No, I don't mind at all. I think it would be a good idea. I do want you to come back to the sports aspect because that's a huge one,
Yes.
and I think really highlights that break even point that we're talking about. So go ahead.
Okay, so I like to do a lot of research before I make a decision on something to the point where it's annoying. But
No.
right, I know being educated and making decisions is such a terrible thing. Anyways, uh, I looked into the pricing of everything, and it ended up, as I was adding up what we would watch, it was actually going to be more expensive to just cut the cord than to pay for a 2-year contract. So, um, plus side of going and sticking with sticking with a service. So we ended up going with AT&T Uverse. You're able to get fiber, which was pretty awesome, and we have a crapload of TV shows that Erin gets to watch all her channels, and we get to watch sports. So I mean, we made it out, and for relatively, we'll say just so I'm not saying how much we pay a month, I'll say 120 to 140 is the range that somebody can probably get the package that we got.
Yeah,
And
that's pretty average.
so keep that in mind. We have that that service unlimited uh, download. So like I don't have a download cap or a data usage cap like most companies do now for whatever reason. I don't have to pay a premium for that. I hit a terabyte pretty quickly, so I'm kind of glad to hear that. But we came to the conclusion that the services were just going to be too much if we were to do the subscription side of it and cut the cord and just do internet. So, with that being said, like I was just perusing the internet right now, looking at prices, and really you're gonna hit some serious. Uh, it's a big scale on where you're going to be spending your money. So, Comcast seems to be relatively more expensive just from the get go. Um, I mean,
I'm shocked. I am
I know,
shocked.
right? But like, I could find something that is 25 megabytes. It's called the double play. It's like a starter double play. 25 megs, 10 channels. Which at that point, why the heck are you even getting this? It's a year contract. You can even save additional $5 if you do like an eco pay. So you just get your e statements. You can get that for $30 a month for a 1 year contract. That's cheap. And if you aren't streaming 4K video and it's just you and your wife, or your wife, you and your husband, or whoever, your kids, and you have less people on the network, 25 megs is going to be enough to get through when it gets to about standard definition to even HD. I don't see that being a problem. What do you think?
No, I totally agree. That I was just about to say that's like the cord cutter special
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah. And so now you tack on something like that, the cord cutting aspect of it, and that's where you start adding up those fees. So, Josh, what kind of services do you have right now that you subscribe to?
Right now, we subscribe to HBO and to Netflix.
Okay. What kind of Netflix? Do you have the standard like $7, $8 a month, or is it the HDR 4K $15 a month?
It's not the second one or the first one. It's actually the middle $10 a month.
Mm. Okay. Is that and that's digital? That's not the CD one. Because
No,
do they
no,
even
I've
do
never
that
done that with
anymore?
them. Yeah, I think they do. I've
Oh
never done that
my
with them.
god.
Yeah.
I did that when my parents did that when it first came out. We loved Netflix. I mean, we
Oh,
would.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I wasn't trying to make it sound like that was a dumb idea because everybody did it but me. So, no, yeah, no, I've never done that with them.
Well, so that just add look $15 a month for HBO, right? I think.
Correct. Yeah.
So 15, you add another 10, so that's $25. You add another to that, so you're at right now you're at $55 plus tax, so I don't know, 65-ish. You're paying 65 a month for 25 megs, and you have HBO and Netflix, so you can pretty much get a good chunk of your videos, movies that are coming out. Netflix has been getting pretty good with putting some decent
Oh, they're great.
originals. So like
Yeah,
they've
they're great.
totally turned that around the last 2 to 3 years. And HBO, same thing. I mean, you still get access to many movies. You get access to the huge blockbuster hits. So like Game of Thrones, Silicon Valley, etc. So that's not a bad deal. But Josh, how do you watch sports?
I don't. That's
Ooh.
why I thought we should come back to it because I don't watch sports.
Well,
Sometimes I'll watch football, but that is with an HD antenna
okay.
if I do it.
Hold that.
Okay,
Don't
sorry.
hold that thought. We'll get back to that. I promise.
Okay,
So there you go. Now you've essentially just told me that I can pay $65 a month for that.
if you don't watch sports, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna
But I
throw.
want to add something in before you go forward.
Okay.
That is that we usually pay for HBO and other networks at times when our shows are on. So, in other words, we'll cut the HBO subscription when our shows are not on season,
Mm-hmm.
and then we will pay for CBS and or NBC when our shows are on season. There's a couple shows on there that we'll watch when they're on season, but we've cut those right now because none of the shows are on right now that we want to watch. So
Yeah.
so we get to pick and choose when we pay for those.
Gotcha. So with that being said, that's smart, and I wanted to touch base on that later on, but I'm gonna throw a curveball at you because right now, and I'm pulling up AT&T right now. You can get and that why does so the problem right now too is that people still think you need a phone line, a landline. I'm gonna tell you right now, guys. 21st century, you got cell phones. You don't need a landline, unless that's the only phone number you have to have people call you that you don't want them to call you, or the person who's calling you that has that number doesn't have a cell phone. Anyways, uh, I can get. I can
Are you
get
shopping for the internet on our podcast?
but I already have it open. But I was trying to see if I could win this over, but it's not working out. $85 is the lowest I can get. That would give us, yeah, $85. Would from AT&T. You can either choose between your poison of DirecTV or Uverse, and you can get over 155 channels. Plus, you get basic internet, which is I think 50 megs. Uh, real time follow up. It doesn't tell me. Well, it's decent internet. We'll call it decent. Good enough. Believe me. You can get
55 is fine.
yeah. I mean, 85 bucks for that, and you get pretty much all the channels that you'll be hoping to subscribe to, minus HBO and Stars. You get to watch sports, etc., etc. That's not bad. And for normal people who don't care about their internet connection, $85 is going to get you through it, especially if it's a 2-year contract. And you get a phone line for giggles if you want to. So I this is where I get to the point where I don't even understand why people do it. If it's so cheap to just go with the basics, why even cord cut in the first place?
Yeah. Now there is a loophole that I don't know how long it's going to last, but
Hmm.
this is what we use as our loophole. So I just mentioned that in the past we have cut out the networks that maybe our shows are not currently running on.
Yeah.
So if it's not running, we'll cut the show. The loophole is for Comcast at least. If you get Xfinity, we have standard definition Xfinity. And because we have standard definition Xfinity, we're entitled to like NBC, a couple of other ones like ABC, NBC, the typical broadcast
Yeah.
networks. And this is how I watch sports too. Um, and so I have that as a standard definition package with Comcast, so it's cheap.
Yeah.
We don't even have that box set up because we have Xfinity and we paid for the standard definition.
Hmm.
If rather the Apple TV will pick up that you are on Xfinity, and I can
Ooh.
watch all of that, all of those standard channels and sports and all that stuff in high definition on the Apple TV because I'm on Xfinity and it includes Xfinity streaming. So, in other words, it's a loophole because I'm paying for standard definition TV, not using the standard definition TV, and watching in high definition on the Apple TV because I'm streaming.
Hmm.
So that's a way to pay a little bit less, but still watch in high definition. Now you require to have some device like an Apple TV
Hmm.
or a Roku or Amazon Fire TV
Yeah.
or a Google, whatever the heck it's called. Um,
A Google what?
so yeah, so that's the loophole though. That's the how we've found to pay a little bit less.
Yeah, and that's pretty surprising. They allow something like that, or well, I guess they can't prevent that. Hopefully.
Well, and the other thing that I think they're finally getting a lot around to realizing, and maybe it was technology based before, where it was unreliable
Hmm.
for most people in their homes to get the bandwidth required for streaming. That's not the case today.
Hmm.
And I believe that they're finally realizing that not only can you sell different ads on the streaming version of whatever they're playing, you can also play ads at different times in varying amounts or lengths. And you also are going out to potentially a national audience at a greater scale. I don't know how to put that right because, I mean, obviously the channel is going to be at a national level no matter what. But because
Yeah.
it's being streamed on the internet, you have the potential for a larger audience, which could possibly equal, if done correctly, and this is where all those wonderful, wonderful deals are coming in with those companies, I believe, could possibly equal more ad dollars for them. So technically, they potentially could make more money off of the streaming rather than the standard broadcast because the broadcast can only reach so far, whereas the streaming is as far as you can lay a landline or any kind of broadband internet. So I think they have a lot more options now, and
Yeah.
they're starting to get on board with the idea that they can deliver content reliably over the internet rather than having to rely on a broadcast.
Well, yeah. I guess. I don't know. It just it's always going to be for me. It always seems like it's always going to be Comcast, AT&T, whoever it be, especially with the merger that just happened, uh, or not merger, but the buyout, we'll call it. Uh, they're always going to champion and try ways to like bring people in. and move away from the cord cutting. And to me, honestly, this is just a phase because it's going to get to the point where prices are going to rise for internet. You're going to be paying more premiums as we start to get faster speeds. For example, fiber. It's becoming more affordable and accessible to you, the local or to like general users. But in the end of the day, you're going to pay like $100 for that. So
Well, the other part of it is like, what do they care? I mean, take Xfinity Comcast. I hate that they call themselves Xfinity because they're Comcast.
yes.
Um, take Comcast. They're providing, and this is why they love triple play. They're providing their customers both cable TV and broadband internet and phone. What do they care where their customers prefer to watch things? They do not care because no matter what they, like the old saying, they got you coming in and going out. It doesn't matter where you watch it. You're still technically watching it on Xfinity/Comcast at your house.
Right.
So, and then if you buy into the idea, which most people do, you can download the app to stream it on your mobile device. Now you're watching it on their network. So you're just broadening that audience. You're just broadening the watch and the views and the number of people who have access to it. And you're relying on a login, so that means that's definitely them who's watching it, which
Mm-hmm.
means you're just giving them more options, which will encourage them to watch your service more. It's just a cyclical cycle.
Cycle.
That's a terrible way to say it. It's just a cycle. they they get you either way,
Right.
which is an old man way to say that.
Right. And they lock you into the contracts. I mean, and some people, and I know a couple people that do this, you'll get to that contract because you have a nice deal because they're pulling you in. They're pulling you in this vicious cycle. You will, end your contract with Comcast and switch to AT&T for 2 years and do it back and forth. And essentially, at one point, you're going to have every 2 years a different provider, and you're simply doing it just to save money. Um, and get the same services just at a different price because they're running a deal and blah blah blah. So like you're essentially just switching providers every 2 years. You're still getting your TV. You're still getting your internet. It almost makes more sense just to keep doing that until I don't know they stop. They add more ways of charging you from switching from service or some built-in user agreement where you can't switch back to Comcast or AT&T after you've disbanded 2 years a 2 year contract or finished out a 2 year contract and switched to AT&T or something like that. Simply something that would force you to stay within Comcast instead of going to AT&T.
Well, yeah, and that's the name of the game for them. I mean, again, what's the business decision? And the business decision is that they want the most people watching their content the most times per day.
Right.
So that means that, and this is why everybody's becoming a content creator slash platform, is that they then have things to deliver to people that keeps them engaged with their service, and they can provide more watch time, more content that then provides more ad dollars and revenue. So it's just that cycle. That's the motivation. That's the business motivation behind it. Um, I want to mention though, as I'm thinking about it, you're talking about it. I said that I'm lame. I am. That's the main motivation. I'm lame, so I don't watch TV the same typical way as people.
Yeah.
I also though am super snobby, and I love the experience of watching TV on my Apple TV in the way that it presents it. In other words, like, click on the thing to watch the show that I want to watch when I want to watch it, and then I'm there.
Right.
That's what I want. And it's not always about saving money for myself and my wife. I know that we just sometimes prefer to watch that way. And that drives a lot of why we watch TV the way we watch it on the Apple TV.
Mm-hmm. And again, nothing wrong with that either because to each their own. I'm never going to pay for an Apple TV. Maybe if it was gifted to me, I don't know. But just because you're doing it through that medium doesn't mean it's that you're lame. Uh, but I
I'm calling myself lame because I don't watch TV the way that I would say normal people do, and B, I don't watch the programs that normal people do. I mean, there's a lot of people that talk about all the reality shows that are on these days. I cannot stand those shows. Cannot stand them at all. Never have, never will. So, I mean, I'm lame. I'm a lame person. So,
So no, you just touched on a point I wanted to get to. Perfect. So who is this meant for? Like, who is
cord
cord
cutting?
cutting meant for? Is it age group? Is it a group who are looking to save money in their pocket? Can you tell me? Is there even a definitive group of people who would specifically be uh, targeted to do this?
No.
Why is that?
I'm always terrible with these like short answers. Uh, I don't think it's that clear right now. I think like everything else that's going on in the technology space right now, we're kind of in a transitional period,
Yep.
and this is why I think it's not a very clear answer, and you have to kind of do the breakdown by yourself and weigh what's more important to you and what's not, because it's not really fleshed out for it to be 100%. And it's also not clear who the target audience or the market is necessarily. The target audience and market is whoever wants to do it. And that's like the worst possible market you could have, I would say. Because you have to give people a good reason to do it. And that's why it's taken so long for it to catch on, because y- you kind of had to make your own reasons for you to get into it before, and it's starting to catch up. Like I said, Xfinity, you can stream however you want. Starting to catch up, but it's not really for anybody. I think that you'll find different swaths of people in each generation and age group that prefers it this way, or likes to watch this way, or likes to watch the other way, or likes to DVR. It's just that's all preference, and I don't think it's really based on age or age group 100%. The only thing maybe we might be able to say is that the younger peoples,
Younger
you,
peoples.
me, and younger, sometimes like to have their show when they want to have it at the time they want to have it. So, it's like an instant gratification situation.
Right.
But again, that's a generalization. So I would say it's slowly catching on, it's slowly gaining speed. It's not really about a specific market right now. It's just kind of let's see how it goes, everybody's saying.
Right. And I wouldn't call it a niche, but there's a specific group of people should be willing to do this, because this is why I am disagreeing with you, because people have to be one selective of what they're watching to the point where they have the ability and knowledge and are comfortable with canceling services as their show ends, or even paying for their shows individually. So, for example, iTunes surprisingly still does this, and I'm surprised this is even still possible. But you can still buy season or episodes in a season and have a digital copy of that yourself. I
A
was,
lot of people still do that apparently.
which I didn't know. I haven't done that. I think I've bought. I went through my iTunes account to see, by the way, and I think I've only bought three episodes, and I'm not going to tell you what those TV shows are because I bought it when the first the iPod video came out, and
So Pokemon was one of them.
shut up. It was that tiny, tiny screen. But anyways, now it's for the standard or HD. Sorry, it's $3 per episode on iTunes. So if you think about that, you get what, 4 episodes a month for a blockbuster TV series. You're paying $12 a month to buy each episode. To buy 4 episodes each month. That's almost the same amount of money you would pay for a subscription service. Add that by, say you have 6 shows that you like, you're already hitting $60+ on top of paying for internet. Like, to me, it just, you have to be so selective and know, and not one, either you don't like sports and love HBO and love anything that's on HBO, or you hate HBO and only love sports, or like, it almost feels like if you're trying to save money, you have to either do this or that. You can't do both. And if you do both, you might as well just do whatever you suck everyone else, the rest of us suckers that pay AT&T or Comcast the plus amount of dollars to watch TV and have internet, have your cake and eat it too, or make the cake and eat it too, whatever the heck the phrase is.
Yeah, the arguments I've heard for using iTunes in that manner have more to do with, quote, ownership, if you can call it that,
Oh my
of
god.
the episodes or the show and
Yeah.
being able to go back and watch it over and over again. Or they want to, quote, support that specific show 100%.
Right.
So they care a lot about that show. They want to ensure that their money goes to that show and that show alone. And then that's what they do. Again, I'm lame, so I don't think either of those are good reasons
Oh yeah.
because I just the amount of times that I've gone back and rewatched a TV show, no,
Exactly.
I don't do that.
I mean, there are some TV shows that you might buy the DVD. Whoa, what's that? Blu-ray collection and
Yeah, easy
or
there, killer.
digital collection. I don't know what these kids do nowadays, but you might do that. Like for example, I have Band of Brothers. I know a lot of people do like Friends. They'll have the whole series of Friends, How I Met Your Mother, all those sitcoms, and etc. etc.
Yeah, of course there's exceptions.
But that I haven't bought one since, and I got that for Christmas. I haven't gotten a collection since Band of Brothers, and that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
So I just don't see the point in buying it at that iTunes per episode, and that's when you start leaning towards the services. But I'm looking at all the services right now. I have Netflix already, and I already pay for um, the TV and internet. If but in the case that I didn't have TV and I just had internet, I have a 4K TV, so sorry, I have to have a very good connection so I can stream 4K TV or TV shows, video, movies, etc. So that has to be $15 for Netflix. I would have to get Hulu and get the highest grade Hulu, whatever that is, because it starts at $7.99 a month. I would have to get sports, which would have to be NHL, which could even go from 50 to 150 a year. I'd have to get NFL because my wife and I watch a lot of football and we do fantasy football. Like so, I mean, I'm just racking up the bill right now, and I look at what I pay now, and I think an additional with Netflix, I think for me it makes more sense. And the problem when I look at it too, just not from my perspective, but say grandparents, my grandparents, your grandparents, even your parents, my parents, they might not want to go through the hassle of figuring this out. They don't. They just want to call service. They install the necessary equipment, verify it works, and boom, they're good to go to record and watch their TV shows live. Like to me, it that's why I feel like this is really going to be just a phase that dies out. So
It is. I mean, it's I mean, the nice way of saying it before was that it's in a transitional period.
yeah,
Really, the bottom line is TV right now is in a really sucky state. Like it just sucks. It's
mm,
like you you really don't have unless you want to do the calculus problem, you really don't have a quick and easy way to watch the way that you want to watch 100%. You have to either figure it out or just pay the extra money potentially, or maybe it breaks even, but maybe you don't know because you
yeah,
didn't do the calculus problem. Just pay the extra money, call the cable company or whatever company and say, just send it over, give me the box, and then you do whatever. I think
hmm
where it gets really gray is like, okay, do I pay for the DVR and the extra HD? That's additional cost usually with a cable service. Okay, well then maybe I just cut the cord. Well, now I need to pay a la carte and pick which particular networks, and it's just a sucky state right now for TV, and I really hope that it changes soon.
yeah,
I had hoped that Apple could have been the jerks they used to be and just gone in and done the flamethrower approach where they just force all the TV networks to do what they say,
yeah,
which is what they did with the music industry. But unfortunately, everybody knows what they did to the music industry, so they are wary of it. And the TV and movie in studios and industry has just completely said, no, we're not doing that. So it's been this uphill battle and continuous slog to get TV to a point where it's either you don't have to do the calculus problem or you do. So,
yeah, and it's a shame because it does connect or create that divide for people who are trying to watch or catch up or be up to date or up to speed on Game of Thrones, and you're a college kid or a kid coming out of college and living on a fixed income or tight income, and you're essentially just selecting services to watch on some crappy internet service that is local that you pay for just to watch your standard definition of Game of Thrones. It's just a shame because you really don't have any other option, and I don't know. It just kind of sucks. There's nothing else to do but bite the bullet and pay for.
Well, yeah. And the problem with it is that everybody's losing
Yeah.
because the viewer isn't getting the best possible experience,
No. Yeah.
at least not at the beginning. And then that leaves money on the table for the um, network. So the network might not have people who are watching, like, take HBO as a great example.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people who just won't pay for HBO. And I don't blame them. It's expensive.
Yeah.
And so, especially when you are already paying the cable company, now you got to add that on. That's ridiculous. So it's just this, like, I don't know, it's just ridiculous to even consider. And I don't like to think about it too much, even though we just did a whole hour-long topic on the situation. I usually don't like to think about it too much because it's one of those, like, unsolvable problems.
Yeah.
For me, it just goes in a loop in my head, and then I'm like, okay, well, there's just no answer that's really awesome, which stinks because I want to watch what I want to watch and actually give them money for it. And that ties into a whole different topic, which is there's a whole section of people out there who pirate all this stuff
What's that?
because
Hold on, Josh. What
they,
do you mean by pirate? Why would anybody do something like that?
I mean, they go to the internet and download TV shows and movies because it's been proven time and again, I would say, which I again have nothing to back up what I'm saying. You know how that goes.
Yeah.
Proven time and again that when given the option to pay in the way that they want to, they will pay. So now you're leaving money on the table because you didn't give them an option to stream. They're going out, say they have a computer, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
not trying to build a case for woe is me. For goodness sake, it's TV.
Yeah.
But say they have a computer and they are paying for the internet. They just want to watch Game of Thrones when it comes out. Is that so much to ask? They're going to see the same, potentially pay for the same service. And now that they have that option, it's great. But when there wasn't that option before, there was a whole bunch of pirating going on. I think at one time, Game of Thrones was the most pirated content ever because everybody wants to watch it, everybody wants to talk about it, but they didn't have a good way to stream it. Now that they do, hopefully they've captured that audience. So, I don't know. It's just a sorry state right now.
It is. But let's try and end this topic on a high note by suggesting certain things for people.
Sure.
I'd like to suggest that if you are in a situation where you're trying to figure out if you want to cord cut or not, like really sit down and talk with if you're your spouse with your spouse or roommates or whatever it may be, whoever it may be. Sorry, actually, wouldn't it be whom? Anyways, and figure out okay, what shows do we watch, what sports, etc., and tally that out. Find out what services are provided or that provide those shows. Add that up with at least a 50 meg connection, at least if you want to get a decent streaming. They have like a different, decent streaming speed, and see how much that costs. Then, if it comes out to be around the same price you would pay for both TV and internet, just go with that route. It's gonna suck. Yeah, you have to sign a contract for 2 years or 1 year, and you might have to go through DirecTV because for whatever reason your apartment complex doesn't have a tap in for UVerse or Comcast. You got to do what you got to do, or if you don't care, just get internet and never watch TV.
That's what I do.
So, I mean, give it a couple years, and at this point, who knows? We might get it free TV forever because I don't know. Supreme Court says you can't have
Nothing's free,
competitive.
Justin.
I don't.
Nothing is free.
Yeah, well, it's. I'm glad because that would be a really boring life. But anyways, I would just take that route. Do you think of anything else?
I would like to suggest a different route. I would say start out with Um, yeah, start out with what shows you want to watch. Just kind of write them down and say, okay, which ones am I looking for? Maybe they take on a specific network.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're all on one network. Maybe they're on one or two. You can kind of judge there. But I would also suggest starting out with the device. Do you have one of the new fancy dancy smart TVs? Which I hate those interfaces. But if you don't mind that interface, maybe that's a good option for you. Or find somebody who has an Apple TV and go try it out, or find a deal on a Fire TV stick or a Chromecast, which is the Chrome version, the Google version of this product.
Yes, yes, yes.
Go find those for cheap and try them out. See what you think. I mean, it's just a good way to dip your toe in the water and see, is this even how I like to watch TV? And then you can go from there. Because if you don't even like to engage with those devices or have to try and set them up, which it's not that hard. But if you don't want to try and set them up or deal with it or want to watch TV that way, then you're just wasting your time, and just go pay somebody to give you a box and a service, and then you can watch TV to your heart's content.
I'd say, but that's about a decent suggestion. Not too bad. Not too bad.
Aw, thanks.
Well,
That's nice of you to say.
well, it's a perfect world. We have to be nice to each other. Um, I do anything else on this topic? I think that's it. I can't think
No,
of
I
anything
think the
else.
horse is fully dead and beaten and just kicked off the cliff and photographed and all the things.
That's pretty violent. Hopefully, that doesn't give us an explicit tag for the iTunes. Anyways, let's end now. Let's take a look at our infamous rant recommendation corner, and I'm still going to call it that until blue in the face.
Do you mean the rant corner?
Yeah, sure, we'll call it rant corner. But and actually, I have a rant this time. I think I had a rant last time.
You did.
So
I'm proud of you.
easily we forget. Um. Anyways, so my rant for this week on rant corner is pertaining specifically to the fact that I can only get 200 gigabytes for iCloud storage for a measly or for like $3.99, $2. I don't even know what I pay, but 200 gigabytes really. I mean, I'll pay $4 for at least a terabyte, or give me something more because it's such an odd and inconsistent storage size compared to everybody else. Why 200? Like, I just don't get it. Make it either, and even five. Oh, I'm going all over the place, but 5 gigabytes is ridiculous. Like, no one can seriously use 5 gigabytes of space as a cloud service. Like,
Yeah, it's pretty terrible.
you could fill that up in just one backup of your phone, and then some more documents, and even pictures nowadays. As you get higher quality, those and resolutions, those things just get bigger and bigger in file size. So 5 gigabytes isn't good. 200 gigabytes is the most silliest size imaginable. Just go with a terabyte. And of course, Apple being Apple did 2 terabytes, because you know what? When 200 isn't enough, you can't get 1 terabyte. You can just jump right to 2 terabytes. But I digress. It's just I like numbers that make sense, and that doesn't make sense.
I actually, we are on the 2 terabyte plan. It's pretty great.
Well, yeah, two
I
terabytes
could
is
recommend it.
fantastic. But like the number two doesn't make any sense.
I hear you. You aren't wrong,
I'm not
but
asking
you
if I'm.
also aren't right
Uh,
in that Apple, you're yelling into an echo chamber. They've always been way more expensive on the storage than Google, or even, well, Dropbox is at the same level. They're at the same
yeah, they're
spot.
back to that.
In fact, they're worse because I think you still only get a terabyte for $10 a month
I don't even know.
with
I
them,
That's a good question.
and you get 2 terabytes for $10 a month on Apple's iCloud. So, but Google's is way more cheaper, or has been for some time. So, yeah,
Way more cheaper. I like that.
yeah, I English sometimes.
So, Josh, are you ready for your rant? I don't know.
Yeah, I could rant about something, I think.
Are you sure?
I think
Hold on,
so.
before you rant, is this a thing that our both our generations do? Is it something that ranting is just a normal thing? Like, Do you know what I mean? Because I always feel like the term "Can I please just rant? Can I vent?" That's the word, vent. Is venting something that our generations have created, or is that just
I would say venting was before the internet and ranting came after. That's how
okay?
I would put it.
Okay. So George Washington and Abe Lincoln never ranted or vented. They declared their
They
anger.
declared war. No, I don't know.
Anyways,
They
continue.
declared their anger, yes.
I think that just sounds more official. Go ahead, though. Go ahead on your rant corner.
Mine is a small one, just a teeny tiny one. Um, I would like to say that for some reason we are the only people who feed birds in our neighborhood. So if you're in my neighborhood and you can, please feed some birds because they all come to our porch and only our porch. I feel like I'm buying bird seed like crazy because they all just congregate on our porch because we're the only ones who feed them. So if you're listening to this and you live in my neighborhood, I'm not going to say what neighborhood that is because, stalkers.
Reasons.
Don't be creepy. But if you do live here, buy a bird feeder and feed the birds because they're annoying. And I can't cut them off, but I also don't want to keep paying for it. And rant.
It's such a cry for help. Like, please save us from spending $20 each.
Literally, it's like a cloud of birds that live on my porch, and they are almost to the point where I go out there on the deck to like grill, and they like try to decide right now if they're gonna go anywhere.
Is it like Mary Poppins or I'm
It
trying to
feels kind of like that
where the bird
Cinderella, where they're
Cinderella,
like
the
building me a
birds.
dress.
Yeah, they just
Yeah, no, they are like eyeing me like, well, I guess it's a human, so I guess we'll go away because this is our food source now, the only one we have apparently.
I feel bad for your
So
deck. Is your deck dirty now?
it isn't that dirty. I'm very surprised. They're very clean birds. They keep it nice and clean.
Uh,
There's only a couple spots here and there,
I
so I give them credit.
give it some
They're
time.
cleaning up after themselves. It's been a few months now, so it's not that bad. It's just that they eat all my food and they're all over the place and they're procreating like crazy. So we need more bird feeders in this town.
There's not enough bird feeders in this town. Oh
Yeah.
my god. All right, well, let's close this sucker out. Um, I have to get ready for this. Thank you guys for listening to our seventh episode. Wow, Freudian slip. It's our seventh episode already. Can you believe it? 7 episodes,
No, I can't.
not including the 5+ episodes we recorded even before we started. But hey, that's okay.
Those
Those
are secret.
it's,
You just let the secret out.
it's not a secret. It's just more like they'll never listen to it. Maybe when we're generous. But anyways,
Hopefully, they won't see the light of day.
no. If you like this episode or any of our episodes, give us a review on iTunes or anywhere that podcasts can be heard. Still working on Spotify. Sorry, people who just use Spotify. They take forever, and I've been trying to contact them, but it's a pain to get our people's podcasts onto Spotify. Known fact. Even so, that there's a FAQ and guide how to get your podcast on Spotify the quickest way. So I took that route. We'll see if it
Wow.
works. Yeah, that's pretty sad.
Wow.
You can tweet to the show at Digital Divide PC and send us feedback by sending us an email at by sending it to askdigitaldivide@gmail.com. You can access all this jib jab on the website www.digitaldividepodcast.com. YouTube links on there too as well. I still have to upload our last episode, so I'm sorry people who use YouTube. Uh, if people use YouTube to listen to
Falling down on the
podcasts.
job, Justin. Really?
Well, I didn't have time
Gosh,
this
what do you
morning.
think you have life and things to do besides this?
I thought this is all
Don't you
I did.
understand we make so much money from this that
So much.
you should just be doing this only.
I'm gonna quit my job and do this. I'm
That's
kidding.
a great idea.
Heart attacks just happened. If you guys would like to follow us because you love us so much, I am on Twitter at Justin Fry FRYE 121. And Josh, where can they find you?
On Twitter, you can find me at jcharletto. That's J, my first initial, and then Charletto, Ciarletto. or you can email me at josh@charletto.com. And yeah, spam me. It would be great.
I hear that, everybody. Open invitation to spam Josh. Anyways, until next time, everybody, please take care.
Bye.